Alright guys, so welcome to today's video. I would like to, explain how this finish system right here works, okay? So, we have this local script, we have this remote event, and we have this script, alright? So what basically happens is that this local script recognizes when you have pressed a certain key, okay? When that's the case, this remote event is being fire servered, this remote event fire server will lead to this script to react to it, and the reaction of this script is going to be that is going to fire to all clients, all right? And this fire all clients will lead to this finish system or this finish move right here being played, all right? That's basically just a short description of how things work, and we will now dive into the details. All right, so let's go inside of this local script right here. So what we have right here is that we have a variable which refers to our local player, okay? Next thing is that once the character of our player right here is being added, we of course receive this character right here. So that's what this argument right here does. And the first thing which we are doing right here is that we are setting the state right here, okay? So the state of being dead to false. That's a very important step, okay? When you don't do this, your character will just respawn automatically once you've died, okay? And we want to get rid of that. That's the reason why we are setting this death state to false. Next step is that we are going to recognize once the health has changed, alright? And if that happens, we receive the current amount of health, which is H right here. And we are checking whether H equals or is even smaller than 0. Okay, so basically means that you have no health left, alright? And if you have no health left, then you are technically dead. Now, why don't we use humanoid.died? I'm not sure, but I had the feeling that since we have disabled the state of being dead, it won't even trigger when the humanoid has died, because there is no such state as death now, because we have just disabled it, right? That was my fear of doing so. That's the reason why I used this way of doing things, okay? Now, once the health is at 0, we want to fire server this remote event right here with the task ragdoll, okay? And let's go into this, okay? Let's quickly go into this and let's see how or what happens right here, okay? So when the player's health has reached 0, then we want to anchor the humanoid root part of the player who has fire server, and we want to set the C frame of that humanoid root part to its current position, multiply with a C frame, which makes it go up a little, and that is to prevent the humanoid root part from glitching to the ground. At least that's what I remember, okay? So either we prevent the player from glitching into the ground, or we push the player more into the ground. Either one of those two things, okay? That's the reason why we are playing around with the C frame right here. The next step, so this one right here, is responsible for this ragdoll, okay? And I'm honest with you, I have watched some videos about ragdolling because I haven't done this myself yet, okay? So I needed some assistance on that, and I've watched the video of, wait, let me look up the name of this guy. Yeah, so that user's name was Cute. Shout out to you. Thanks for sharing that video, and yeah, so as I've told you, this idea of ragdolling is from him or from her. And yeah. So just watch that video of that person in order to understand this, okay? Because I personally, I would lie when I tell you that I understand this myself, because I don't really understand the mechanics of Motor 60's attachments whatsoever, okay? That's something I still have to look into, alright? But I think that we are literally destroying of these Motor 60s, I think, which keep the player together, okay? And we are destroying them, and we are replacing them with attachments and sockets, okay? And that's the reason why our character gets this ragdoll kind of look, okay? Because all of those Motor 60s are deleted and are replaced with sockets, attachments, and whatsoever. That's that's the extent I can explain this to, okay? And apart from that, we are also setting an int value inside of the character, with the name ragdolled. This one is going to tell us later on that this player right here is ragdolled officially, all right, also from server's perspective, because the client, you know, so the client can make up a lot of stories, okay? So hackers are able to spoof all of that stuff, and you should never trust the client, okay? I should even add another check right here, just to be really sure that the humanoid's health right here is actually below or equal to 0, okay? Just to really make sure, because right here we were very dependent on the client's info. But we should, of course, verify the info right here. Yeah. Now, right here, what we're doing is that we are referring to this user input service, which is responsible to detect a user's input. And yeah, we have this input begin event right here, which, as the name suggests, fires when an input has begun. The first argument we should receive is the input, which was done. The second one is called game processed event, so GPE. Now, what is GPE? So GPE tells you whether this input right here, so this one, was done while interacting with in-game elements, alright? And if that's not the case, then we want to check what this input was, alright? And we are looking for an input, which is the E key, alright? So if the input was pressing the E key, then we want to loop through the workspace, alright? And we're using get descendants right here, and not get children, okay? So what get descendants... Oh, wait, let me explain what get children does. So when we would, for example, write get children instead of get descendants, we would only get all of these right here, okay? But with get descendants, we actually get all of these, all of this, all of this, all of this, and everything which is inside of here, you know, everything, and so on. So you guys hopefully get what I'm trying to point out. So you literally get anything which is inside of the workspace, okay? Now, we are skimming through the workspace, and we want to know if the instance at which we're currently at is a model, contains a humanoid, and contains something called ragdolled, alright? And this something is, of course, going to be this one, alright? So you want to make sure that your game does not have any script which randomly puts something inside of your character called ragdolled, alright? Apart from this. Otherwise, you will mess up this whole system, okay? But I don't think that you'll do that. Now, next requirement is also that this instance, which we're currently at, and which all the way to this point seems to be in character, is not our character, alright? So those two requirements are typical for a character, so that this instance right here is a model, alright, so character model maybe, and that it contains a humanoid, alright, so character models contain humanoids. That's the reason why we're checking for this, okay? And after those two requirements, you can already tell that this has to be a character model. Yeah, this one is about ragdolling, as I've told you, and this one is just to prevent that we are literally attacking or, you know, targeting our own character. So, next requirement right here is to check distances. And yeah, so we are taking the humanoid to root parts position of this yeah, character right here, and we are yeah, checking for a distance from yeah, of this humanoid root parts, of this character's humanoid root part, and of our character's humanoid root part. So workspace wait for child player.name basically refers to our character. Let me explain why this works, because our character is just another model, another character model inside of the workspace, which carries our name. Therefore, we can just look for an instance inside of our workspace, which has the same name as our player up here. And of course, this reference will not work when you have something else, which has the same name as a character inside of the workspace, and which is of course not your character itself, alright? So then this reference method right here will not work, but I highly doubt that this is the case, alright? Now, yeah, of course, you're in root part position, so as I've told you, the distance in between those two characters, the magnitude, so converts this into a number, and 4 is just the distance which is required in order to finish off someone, alright? So if you want to increase the radius, alright, so the range of finishing someone, then you have to increase this number. If you want to decrease it, then you have to decrease it, alright? And once all of these requirements are met, we want to fire server with a finish and the target, alright? Now, as a peer, you should never trust the client, alright? So we really should perform a manual check right here. So just checking if the distance really is alright, okay? So if val is finish, and this distance thing right here is the case. So instead of v, you want to enter target. All right. So if those two requirements are met, then we can, yeah. So, or especially when a distance is verified, right here, then we want to proceed. Okay. And as I've told you, we are fire clienting everyone right here. So fire all clients, finisher, target, player. Okay, so those two requirements right here are important because all of the other players right here. So we're now at this point, they have to know who the target is and who the performer is. All right. So the performer right here is obviously the one who has fire served with finish. Okay. So right here, this is basically an on-client event, so you're referring to this finisher remote on-client event, and then we're receiving the task which we're supposed to do, which is a little bit silly right here because this on-client event only fulfills one purpose, alright? So we could even get rid of this val right here. I think that I have added this because this system right here, so I had different ideas with this system formally, alright? So I wanted to add a drag system as well, so that you're able to drag around corpses, but it didn't really turn out as I've expected, alright? That's the reason why I have still this val argument right here. So val, target, performer, alright? So if val is finisher, then we want to make sure that our performer's walk speed and jump height are at 0, so that this performer right here is unable to move. And then we want to turn our performer's character to our target's character. So how does this work? So you have to manipulate the C-frame of the humanoid root part of our performer by adding a new C-frame which uses its own position as a base, and then the target's humanoid root part's position to rotate to, or to face to. Now this part right here is important as well, alright? So I'm gonna be making a video on this, so this is going to be the next video, and this is about camera cinematic movement, alright? So how can you move your camera within moves, alright? So you guys right here, you might have played World of Stance, or you might have seen some cool showcases, alright? And this game, in my opinion, literally has perfected this cinematic thing, all right? So the camera movements are insane. They are very smooth, and they also match to the attack itself, all right? And in my next video, I'm gonna show you how you can do the same, all right? So I'm gonna explain you the concept behind camera movements within moves, and of course, it is about practice in order to become perfect in it. But as long as you practice it enough, you guys should be able to do so, all right? So what is this about, all right? Now, we are literally checking if the player right here, who's currently the holder of this local script, is the performer itself, or whether this player right here, who's the holder of the script, is the target, alright? So if you're either the performer or the target, then you're going to see all of this camera stuff right here. So if you're someone else, so third-party member whatsoever, then you won't be seeing those camera movements right here, okay? And so let me explain how these camera movements work. So we are adding a little weight right here. Probably because of the animation. Then we are adding a new part, and we are anchoring. That's very important, and you have to set the transparency to 1 as well. That's very important as well. And you need to make sure that it can collide faults. And very important, you have to set a C-frame, all right? And this C-frame right here, it is going to be next to our player somewhere, all right? So you guys have seen a giveaway video. You guys should know where the camera is heading to, all right? So this position right here becomes your position where the camera is literally going to wander to. Now this part right here, game debris add item. This just adds this axe right here to the debris, means that it is going to be destroyed within 4 seconds. All right. So that's just a task which happens 4 seconds. So 4 seconds, this one is going to be destroyed. Now, another variable which refers to the current camera, so the camera itself. And we are setting the camera type to scriptable, so that you're unable to move around with the camera. And right here we are setting up a tween, and I've explained the tween serves a lot on my channel, alright? So just watch some of my videos to a certain extent, so don't be lazy, just fully watch them, and then you'll hopefully understand what this tween service is about, and you hopefully encounter a spot where I'm talking about the tween service, alright? So I think that I've explained it in depth in my how to make a One Piece game season 2, alright? So just check out that series, it is pretty cool as well. Now, the instance we want to tween is the camera, and yeah, this whole tween should happen in 1/4 of seconds, You guys can just read out the easing style, the easing direction by yourself. And yeah, so this right here is going to be the goal of our tween. So the goal is to get a certain C-frame right here, and this C-frame is going to be this camera part C-frame multiplied with a C-frame at angles, which makes the camera face down into the event. All right, so that's basically how this happens, and we want to play that tween. And right here we are adding a new animation inside of the performers character. And this animation is the finishing animation, all right? So this kick the target receives from the performer to finish off the target. And we are setting the animation ID right here. We are setting up a loader, so we are referring to the performer's humanoid, furthermore to the animator, and we are loading the animation from the animator. And in those brackets, you of course refer to the animation you're trying to load. Then you want to play that loader, all right? After 1 second, so after this whole animation is done, we wanna pirate out this remote right here again with the task to respawn the target, but I'm gonna explain this later on. And down here, we're once again adding both of those checks, all right? So to make sure that the player who has the holder of the script is either the performer itself or the target, and that is because we want to revert the camera back to its natural form. So we are referring to this camera right here once again. We are setting the camera type back to custom, and we are setting this C-frame back to the player's head's C-frame, all right? And down here we are also reverting the walk speed and the jump height. Now, last thing is going to be about this respawn, all right? So since you're not able to die because of this right here, you have to manually respawn someone once that someone has been finished off, all right? So, how does this work? We of course want to check if this target right here exists as a player, alright? Because target itself is just the character model, but is this target really findable inside of this players tab? And if it is, then we are going to add a part, alright? That's important. So we are adding a part, we are anchoring it, we are making sure that it is transparent. I can collide as faults, so I've doubled this transparency right here. Let me remove this. And this is important. We are setting the C-frame of this part to our target's current position multiplied with a C-frame, which makes it move up. All right, that's important. Our target is still lying down there, has been finished off, and we are now setting a break above that target's location. And after that, we are respawning the target, means that the target moves away from where it was formerly. But due to this part, we are able to respawn the target back to this part, so to its former location, and we do that by respawning the character, and then we are setting the C-frame of that newly spawned humanoid root part back to this x.c-frame, so to this death part, all right, so to this part which was positioned to the target's corpse. After that, we are destroying the part because the part has fulfilled its purpose. And down here we have target destroy. So this is just for the case that the target right here is not a player, all right? So this is technically impossible because yeah, why is it impossible? Yeah, no, wait, of course it is impossible. So this right here only applies to players, all right? So only players are able to not die. And when you get a dummy down to 0 health, it will fall apart, it will die, and it will not ragdoll because it does not have the script. So if you're able to add the script into every dummy and prevent the dummies from dying, then you can also apply this whole system on dummies, alright? So, that's it with the video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. If so, leave a like, subscribe, share this video to all of your friends, leave feedback in the comment section, guys. Take care and see you in the next video.